Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody to know, everybody with an invisible condition, we want you to know that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never alone. And, here on Invisible Condition, we get it, man. We know that life can be tough. It can be tough. Firsthand, I'll tell you, it can be tough with an invisible condition. The thing is, we also know that there's always hope. So that's where we live around here. We live in the land of hope, because hope is a beautiful thing. So I want to talk about a couple things before we bring our guest on. And one is Invisible Condition has a nonprofit side here, a nonprofit arm of our company, and that nonprofit arm is called Hydro with Hope. And Hydro with Hope was created a couple of years ago to benefit people and families who are living with a condition called hydrocephalus, which is the condition that I was born with and have lived with for the last several decades. And that condition often requires multiple brain surgeries over your lifetime. I've had 7 so far, starting at 2 weeks old, and my last one was about 3 years ago. And it can be an interesting time with hydrocephalus, and families can go through a lot. And so Hydro with Hope is there to help with tangible, practical resources like our journal. We have a fill-in-the-blank journal that can help families navigate brain surgery. Holy smokes, my kid is going to have brain surgery again. What do we do? This journal is incredibly helpful in navigating that and giving them a resource to bring with them to their next follow-up with their surgeon and all the things. It's just, the idea is to take as much off their plate as possible. And that's what our organization aims to do. Here's the thing. We have more to do than we have funds to do it. And so we are actively expanding our board of directors in order to be able to do more and fundraise more and be able to help more people with what we do, whether that's getting the journals into the hands of people that need them, speaking at organizations around the country, helping families on a one-on-one basis, whatever that is, it all takes money. So we're fundraising and we're expanding our board. And so if you know anybody that might be interested in something like that, I'm going to put an email right here. Send me an email. Let me know. Do a 3-way email, even better. Intro email to me from you with that person that says, hey, Jeff, I just met this person. They want to help. I'd love to talk to them. At the same time, in the same breath, I want to talk about advertising for this show, because that's how we stay on the air. It's commercials and sponsorships. And so if you own a company or you know somebody who does that would align with what we're doing here, and you love what we're doing here, and you want to get the word out about what you're doing to our audience, shoot me an email about that too. Let's talk. I would love to talk to you about that and see where we can land and see how we can get the word out about your company here to our amazing, large, growing group of viewers. So, all right, that's good. We're gonna kick things off here with our guest. Hana Kabele Gala is her name, and she is a neuro coach, practitioner, and speaker. And she's known for her compassionate but direct approach to helping overthinkers and high achievers overcome impostor syndrome, which, good Lord, anybody that's been a business owner, including me, has had to deal with that at least once over the years. And so this is awesome. As the co-creator of Rapid Transformation Neuro Coaching, RTNC, Hana blends hypnosis, which we're going to talk about a little bit in the show. It's going to be cool. Embodiment and neurobiology to guide clients from analysis paralysis to deeper self-connection. Everybody's had that, right? The paralysis of the analysis, right? It's like, instead of jumping from one thing to the next, you torture yourself. Is this the right thing to do? No, the more time you waste on that, the less time you have getting things done. So we're going to talk about that. With over 20 years of experience in intergovernmental consulting and hospitality. Wow. Hospitality and government. Those don't usually go together. She's also worked with global leaders at companies like Coca-Cola and Google. This is awesome. As a certified neurobiology expert, she also offers a powerful mix of science, soul, and strategy. So we're going to talk about this. This is that I'm already, my mind's already blown. Let's get her on the show here and talk about this. All right. Okay. Hana, thank you so much for being here. And I have a question for you before we get started with our regular thing here. But thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. This is good stuff, man. I have a question for you to kick things off that I ask everybody that comes on the show. And it's a question that I love because, as you heard when I was speaking to the audience earlier about our nonprofit, it's got the word hope in it. That is a big deal around here. We operate in a world of hope, because if you don't have hope, you're kind of dead in the water already. So in that spirit of hope, in the rough times, in the times that you had to go through that were not great, that you almost, it was hard, right? How do you still maintain hope in those areas?
Ooh, that's a great question. How do you maintain hope? So I will probably give an answer that I'm going to go on a limb and guess that nobody gave this answer before. I have two ways to look at hope. And one is probably much more aligned with most people who are your guests, and most people's understanding of hope as something that we all need. And I am hopeful. I am always, glass half full. I am all about agency, and we'll get back to that. But I also do not believe in a false hope. There's a reason why when Pandora opened the box, hope escaped too, right? Because I think there is something insidious about false hope. And I think that when it's false hope, when we hold on to things that are not tethered to reality, when we lie to ourselves, and we know it deep down, we know it, when we're not honest with ourselves, that is not hope. We tell ourselves we're hoping for something when we know that is not possible. That is problematic. I have a problem with that. And my job as a direct life coach is to help navigate through that and help you sort of find the strength and find ways to be honest with yourself and find agency. Agency is a big and empowering tool that I want everybody to find, and it's a muscle that we want to strengthen, because it leads us to this self-reliance. With self-reliance, with this agency, we can look at any kind of trouble, any, problem,
Mhm.
crisis, and say, I can have hope because I have faith. I know that I can do it. Like, I can afford hope.
Mhm.
Even if it looks hopeless, I know I can do this despite everything. And that's different than false hope. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a difference. And I studied for too long by some accounts, but my years in academia, I will never sort of look down on and
Huh.
reject, because it led me to, it afforded me this precision of language.
Yeah.
And I think that being precise and understanding the difference between false hope and deliberate, examined, sort of this agency-based hope, that's what I'm here for.
Yes.
That's my answer.
I love it. That's an awesome answer. Like I said, I always get something different, but it's always fascinating. I never know what people are going to say to that question, but that was amazing. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And I want to throw this out to the audience too, by the way. And then I'm going to put your website on the screen, because I want to make sure that people are able to reach you, because they're going to want to after we're done talking here, no matter where you are watching. And by the way, thank you everybody for being here. I so appreciate you're here. If you're watching on E360, awesome. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, even better. And this is why you can comment and you can ask a question. And if Hana says something that you're like, oh, light bulb, or you have a question that sparks something in your brain that you want to talk to her about, put it in the comments, throw it down in the comments. Even better, scan this QR code right here, and then she will be able to get back to you. Tell us, if somebody scans that QR code, what are they going to find? And is there a place on there for it's easy to use to contact you?
Okay, so RTNC with Hana is my website, and it stands for Rapid Transformation Neuro Coaching.
Nice.
And it is a mouthful, and I apologize, but it stands for, and what it is in a nutshell, is essentially a method that, you mentioned it at the beginning, but a colleague of mine, Dr. Blanka Bellak, who lives in Vienna and who I know we decided not to ever talk about how long we know each other anymore, because once it hits 20 years, we're like, yeah, it's just like,
I understand. I didn't hear a thing.
We know each other for a very long time. Yeah. We've met when we were 18, and by now it's just ridiculous. But we've started university together, been friends and colleagues for a long time, as I said. And we developed this technique which combines RTT, the Rapid Transformation Therapy, which is something that was developed by Marissa Peer. And it's a hypnosis-based therapy.
Nice.
It involves embodiment elements. Our strategy involves embodiment elements in neurobiology, and also a number of coaching strategies. And essentially, in a nutshell, what it is we take our clients through a fast but efficient process that it's customized. And we have developed this process of diagnosing. So we diagnose your issue, we walk you through the hypnosis-based process, and then offer solutions and guarantee pretty efficient solutions.
Wow.
And what I love about this is I am a pretty no-nonsense person. I don't know if you can tell. And I have a major issue with some of the modern therapies and coaching processes where I find that incentives are just not there. When you think about it, if you have a leaking faucet and you call a plumber and they don't fix it, you don't call them anymore.
You certainly don't pay them. Yeah.
When you have a mental problem and you go and it's not fixed 6 months later, you still keep going. And you're like,
right.
What are we doing?
Right. Yeah.
And, whether that's your employer paying for your coaching, like an executive coaching,
yeah.
or you go privately, or your insurance company pays for your therapist, but it's just not, it seems like the incentive is not there for the client to get better. It's just there for the therapist to keep calling you back.
Yeah.
And finding new things that might be wrong with you. And so what we do with the RTNC is we offer you this, package and say, this is it. And you will be, this is what it is. And 6 weeks later, this is what you're going to get. And so RTNC is there, and you should go and try it. And there is, Calendly, get a discovery call with me, talk to me about what you'd like, and hopefully I'll be able to navigate you through what issue you have.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that that's how you work, because I agree with you. And in fact, when we're going to go to a break here in about less than a minute, and one of our sponsors aligns with that very well. She's a counselor, and she has an intensive model of counseling. It's not the once a week for the rest of your life. Thank you. Our 50 minutes is up. Come back next time and we'll talk about it more. No, I don't like that kind of therapy, because it like re-wounds you every single time you bring it up. And then you're like, we're just getting somewhere. And then I have to go home and come back next week. She does it very different. And you'll see, hers will be the first thing we play at the break here, but it's quite amazing. And my wife and I went through her method in 2008, and it was absolutely life-changing. So I love that that's how you do it.
And I want to say,
more people should.
Yeah. And I want to say, I'm a huge fan of good therapy. Don't get me wrong.
Totally.
Good therapy works.
Yes.
And, I'm not. So I will say, hopefully after the break, we can also touch upon the difference between sort of the men and women respond to different things. That's true.
That's true.
But, great therapy, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah.
But there's definitely bad therapy.
We can, there's a difference.
That's my point.
There are some of both of those out there. Yes. So we'll touch on that when we get back. And stick around, everybody. There is so much more to come. You do not want to miss it. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor, Dunamis Marriages. And now, struggling marriages often lead to a dramatic sense of disconnection from your spouse that can seem suffocating. Even if your marriage is doing pretty well, there is a way for you to thrive no matter what. Dunamis Marriages believes that God designed marriage to be a lifelong, heart-connected journey. And they're here to help you get there at Dunamis Marriages. Located in Colorado Springs, Colorado, their faith-based marriage intensive has an 83% success rate. I'm going to say that again. 83% success rate. Guiding couples through deep emotional healing and lasting transformation. Why is that important? Because most marriage counseling has a less than 10% success rate, leaving broken hearts and marriages in its wake. Led by Dr. Pauline Dillard, who brings over 42 years of marital wisdom, these marriage intensives are different. Typical marriage counseling is more of a once a week for an hour type of thing that can last for years and really end up getting you nowhere. The intensive model that Dr. Pauline uses brings couples together. Each session lasts about 2 to 3 hours and is conducted over 5 to 6 sessions. The time that you invest in a marriage intensive will combine biblical truth with proven psychological principles to restore communication, trust, and intimacy. At Dunamis Marriages, they don't just treat symptoms, they equip you with the tools to build a thriving, Christ-centered marriage. If you're ready to break free from frustration and rekindle your relationship God's way, act now. Visit DunamisMarriages.com today. That's DUNAMAS marriages.com. And take that first step toward a stronger, more fulfilling marriage. Build your marriage on a solid foundation and enjoy your spouse like you never thought possible.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
And I'm Minna.
We're the hosts of Chronically Healthy Life.
Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Vitality TV to see how we flip the idea of chronic on its head and create chronic health in our bodies, minds, finances, and relationships, right here on E360 TV.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. So glad you're here. No matter where you're watching from, thank you for being here. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, please drop a comment in there if you find something that sparks that during this episode. Just throw a comment in there and we'll get back to you. Or just scan the QR code and you can jump on Hana's calendar and talk to her directly if you hear something that prompts that and you want to have more information. So, all right,
or you can read my blog
or read your blog. Yeah, there's lots of stuff at the website that you want to check out. So definitely scan the QR code and explore that for sure. I love what you said before the break, that you and I are definitely in agreement that not all methods are created equal, and while there is a place for the long-term kind of help that people can seek out, I love the intensive model of things. I as you saw in that last ad for our sponsor, I love intensive models of things. If you're going to just give me the tools, let me go. It's great. So I love that's how you operate in a lot of ways. So
but I will explain, if I may. I would like to, because that's really the core of my technique, of our technique, but also that's where the neuroscience lies. And I think that when people hear, oh, hypnosis, that's so woo-woo, let me tell you, okay?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've thought that myself. Oh Lord,
100%.
It's the whole magician hypnotizing somebody on stage thing, and that's not all there is, guys. There's yeah. Go ahead.
I've heard it all. Yes.
Right.
Let me tell you, when I tell people it involves hypnosis, immediately 9 out of 10 people will think, yes. You're going to make me bark. Somebody claps. I'm going to start barking 100%.
Right.
The neuroscience, or the simple explanation is this. As humans, we developed, and the prefrontal cortex is the youngest part of our brain. This is where we have center for language, logic. This is for words, right? For rationality. This is not where we make decisions. This is not decision making. It's not. So language and decision making are not related.
Right.
Newsflash. Also,
Yes, hello.
this is not where we have our beliefs. Our decision making and behavior. Our behavior is driven by our beliefs. That's not sitting in our brain, in our prefrontal cortex. Meaning, if you want to change your behavior, you need to drop into your subconscious. So talking about it is not going to help. Hypnosis helps you drop into the subconscious. This is also, by the way, why some other methods, such as deep meditation, and I am not a specialist, I do not know enough about psilocybin and other, like ayahuasca and other.
What about stuff like NLP or EFT or like that?
Exactly.
Those kind of things? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it, but it's in the same family, meaning we are disconnecting from the brain-driven strategies. And they're more successful because we are disconnecting from the brain strategies.
Yes.
And that's because when we disconnect from the brain, we're dropping into the subconscious. And once you drop into the subconscious, you can impact the behavior. And I know this because I work with clients whose behavior is being changed when they do. And I also know this because it happened to me when this is years ago now. But when I was in my mid-30s, I worked with a therapist who it had a different name, and she was classically trained, but there was she called it regression therapy, but it had a similar model. And she walked me back in this like semi-hypnotic state. And that was such a profound change. Yeah. And I went through such a profound sort of rearranging of my whole being that it was such a huge impact on my behavior moving forward. I believe that it changed me on a cellular level.
Yeah. That
I truly became, from that moment on, fascinated and way more interested in sort of switching. And I have always been, interested in training, and I was a manager and successful at leading people, and teaching was a sort of a natural progression, and coaching seemed like a natural progression.
Totally.
And wanting from just sort of training, coaching, to go into something that would have even more profound impact was an obvious next step. So again, you can change behavior when you change beliefs, and you change beliefs when you're on that subconscious level. And that's what the hypnosis is after.
Yes. I love that. And you're right. It is similar with some of the things you're saying. And we've had the other people on the show that have talked about similar things. I mean, and with things like neuro-linguistic programming and
that's part of it too. Blanka
right?
is a big specialist of that in that field.
You can get so much accomplished, and it's so efficient, because when you, like with EFT and LLP and those kind of things, you go back to the root of what was happening and take care of it there and address it there. Maybe it was when you were 6, maybe when you were 12 or 20 or whatever. If you neutralize it there, you don't have to worry about it later in life, because now it's no longer a threat. It's more like you just pass by it on the street and you acknowledge it, but it's nothing to be afraid of anymore. It's awesome.
And one thing is also, when I work with corporate clients, so often people would hire me as for executive coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference. I have my private practice, but I also work with executive in my capacity as executive coach. And those are different because you sort of follow the executive coaching structure. Mm-hmm. But honestly, most people, when they get to a certain level, they don't, when people, I work with a lot of overthinkers and it's ultimately life coaching.
Yes.
Because it's not that you can figure, yes, you are circling around certain issue, like one issue, but these people are way smart. Those are smart cookies. Those are very smart people. There's something different than just like, I can't figure this out. Yes, you can figure it out. There's something else. You don't want to figure it out, or there's something that you don't want to do. That's different, right? So
that's kind of like the imposter syndrome thing that you were talking about. That's what that is. It feels like that's what it sounds like to me. Is I'm not cut out for this. This is not me. This isn't for me. This is beyond me, right? And so I'm guessing in that level of executives, that's what you run into most, right? Or maybe not. I don't know.
So
that'd be my guess, but only because I've experienced it myself. Like who am I that I could get this accomplished or do this or that? Everybody at any level of success has run into that at least once.
I think older you get and more people you coach and more people you meet in life, the more you realize that, as one of my professors likes to say, since Shakespeare, nobody wrote anything new. And also, as like, it really is true. Like Chekhov wrote, all the happy families are happy in the same way, and all the unhappy families are terrible in their own way. and I think that this is true for how we think that we are so unique, but really we're all like deep down dealing with the very same thing, which is we believe that we're not good enough. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter the level, whether you're in 5th grade or you're a CFO. If you have imposter syndrome, it's because you don't think you're good enough. You don't think you deserve to be there, or you don't think that what you want is really available to you. And so, like, okay, sometimes we believe things that aren't true, like this explosion of anxiety, right? Like Seneca used to say that we suffer more in imagination than in reality.
Seriously.
And that's so true. Yes. I think Martha Beck, who I adore, a great writer, she just published a book on anxiety. And I have a lot of clients who deal with anxiety. And aside, I'll leave aside the fact that we label everything anxiety these days. And I have a teenager at home, and no, you don't have anxiety. You just don't want to go out. This is like,
Yeah.
that's a separate issue.
Yeah, exactly.
But we also have a lot of anxiety that is real. And it's because we have this prevalence and this emphasis on sort of the, left brain, right brain, and the left brain is let me think about it. I'm dyslexic, so hold on. So the right brain is the artistic one, and the left brain is the rational one. So the rational, exacting, quantifying, qualifying, language driven, that's our today's world, right? That's where we live.
Yeah.
Well, that's if the humanity in its totality was 24 hours, that's the last minute. And the 23 hours and 59 minutes before, we spent in this brain, in the right one. We spent in the nature. And in that book on anxiety, Martha Beck has, this is a plug for her book, but it's really great. I'm like halfway through and I'm already in love. And but she says this one thing. She says, why do you think we love going on vacation? Because we go fishing, we go to the sea, we go to nature, we go hiking. We're going back to those 23 hours and 58 minutes. We're going back to that world that it's ours, where we've been. That's where we're like, our bodies are used to it. Our brains are used to it. That's where we want to be. And instead, we're forced into this new world, almost Aldous Huxley new world of like this pressure. And so the anxiety that we have, again, fear is good. Like, we need fear, and like, it's real. The difference between anxiety and fear is good because there's a lion. You need to be scared. You need to figure out how to get the hell out because, it's you need it because it's
survival.
Right.
Yeah.
But anxiety is not real. You're worried about something that is happening tomorrow, or maybe never, or maybe when you're 60, or maybe, like, what if? And the answer is it real? No, it's still, but our brains are so overdeveloped and it's so, active that we go on the ruminating tour, and it's a never ending tour. Like, Taylor Swift never heard of this area. Like, it goes forever.
Well, because the brain can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not. That's the thing. Your subconscious mind, if you tell it something, it's going to start working towards that, whether it's real or not. And so, that's the mystery of it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
And the worst part is, like, one thing that I really like is, and I work with my clients on this, is the disconnect. And part of the RTNC is also embodiment. Like, we are so disconnected. Our bodies and our brains are so disconnected. And what you just said is so awesome also, because not only our brain cannot tell the difference, but neither can our body. So Marissa Peer, when I did the training with her, she had this thing where she made us close our eyes and imagine that we have this juicy lemon, and we were, for like 2 minutes, she made us imagine it and like trying to, sink our teeth in it. And she was so descriptive, and she just like, and we were all salivating, and our bodies this response, And so when we are worried, we have our cortisol rises.
Yep.
We start sweating, our heart rate increases. Those are all bad things, and our bodies react. So we have heart attacks at 50. We have, hormonal disbalance, and that's what we're doing because we cannot tell the difference. So we have this reaction that it's not just here, it's our whole self.
Yeah, 100%. It's true. And I have learned so much over the last year, 2 years about a lot of that. And that's why I even ask the question or bring that up, because it's something I've experienced myself, and it's so profound to talk about it. So, yeah, you know what? We're going to go to one more break, real short break. And then on the other side of that, let's keep talking about this, because I think this is what a lot of people, I think this is the mind blowing, brain melting stuff that people are like, wait a second. You mean I can, this is, it's crazy. So let's pick up where we left off here in just a couple minutes. Please, everybody stick around. Do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss this. And we'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
Hey everybody, Craig Tomanini here, founder and CEO of Ask Craig T, and I wanted to do a quick reminder about our podcast every Friday, 9 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. You can find us on YouTube and on all of our social media platforms, so be sure you tune in. Don't miss all the valuable information we're going to give you about how to scale your business using technology.
Hey there. You know, every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hi, I'm Amy Joy, and I'm the host of Get Your Together Live with Amy Joy. And you can catch me every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific on the amazing Trajectory channel right here on E360 TV.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking around and being here till this amazing segment. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, again, throw a comment in there. If something that one of us has said, especially Hana, something that she said has sparked something, or light bulb just went off, let us know. And also scan the QR code so that you can talk to her further about anything that you want regarding what she does, which is amazing. And we want to pick up where we left off, which I believe we were talking. What were we talking about?
Talking about the connection between the brain and the body. And
Yes.
I want to sort of, bring it to, I want to share, if I may, again, I have my own personal, if you ever go to my blog, the first entry is sort of a personal story. So often, why are we here? Because of your personal story.
Yes.
And I think that is often the way, like this is the way, because we know most about our own story, and it is how we sort of show up in the world, right? We know our story, and we sort of take it upon ourselves to share that story with the world, and this way share our truths. And I'm not gonna go into the multiverse right now, but and I do believe in objective truth. Just so if somebody wants to come at me,
I get it. Yeah. Don't start yelling at us yet. Come on, guys. All right. Okay.
You know, semantics, but the disconnect. You know, like René Descartes really did us sort of a huge. It was not a huge favor by sort of this cogito ergo sum, you know, the disconnect, thinking that just by thinking you are, and this, I call it brain supremacy. And it's really bad, because the whole Western world for the next, 200, 300 years latched onto this idea that like a big brain and thinking is the answer to everything. And the problem is that for the most part is true. Like, that this is the beauty of our world, that nothing is just black and white. Yes, it is true. And if you think about it, education does lead to social mobility. Education and being smart and educated and curious, it is a cure for a lot of things. Big brain is going to make you happier in many ways, yes, but it is not the cure-all, and is definitely not the answer to everything. And we cannot rely on that left brain, and we know this because we are not just thinking machines. We're not. And neuroscience today proves, we now know that what was the book? I have it right here. I actually have it here. Descartes' Error was, I don't know when it was published. Antonio Damasio, he wrote it, and it basically had several patients who lost their some of their cognitive functions. But essentially, the point of the book is to demonstrate that we cannot think properly without or carry our thinking without some of the emotional parts either.
Sure.
So we need emotions. We need emotions to carry out thinking, and it's true the other way around. So Lisa Feldman Barrett, who is this fantastic neuroscientist who wrote a book, How Emotions Are Made, she actually came up with the idea in the opposite direction, which is emotions are not just given, they are built. So we contribute to our emotions. We develop them. So, the movie Inside Out, where you have like love the movie.
Yep.
Scientifically stupid.
Yeah, not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Like there's no like it doesn't work that way, that somebody's sitting like, obviously. But also it's not that you have anger and you have anger and I have anger and we have these, given entities.
Yeah.
We just kind of make them as we go, and we kind of mold them. And sometimes we mold them, and then as we mold them, we also can sort of disconnect and maybe change them. As they are being built, we can kind of maybe build them differently.
There you go.
Because we are helping develop them inside as they are happening. Again, we are making them. We have agency, back to the agency. So those are all things that we talked about. And since we're getting closer to the end, I think that it might be helpful to give
we got about
practical.
we got about 2 or 3 minutes left. So what do we want?
So I want to give people something practical.
Do it.
Okay. So something practical. If you are an overthinker and you find yourself ruminating, obviously the easier said than done, but go outside and do something with your body, because doing is the opposite of thinking. So start doing. Do a workout, go do, right? So number one. Number two, one thing that if you are stressed long-term, like chronically stressed, your environment has a huge impact on how you feel. And sometimes rearranging your house, your room, obviously going on a trip or going on vacation, all of these things are great. And sometimes I have clients who are like, Hana, I can't afford that. I can't go on a trip. I'll give you a low budget, but very doable solution.
Okay.
My hack for maybe going and creating your little sanctuary in your apartment, house, garage, bedroom, whatever. Maybe you find a spot, just a spot. Maybe it's a chair. Maybe it's a corner of a couch, but find one spot and dedicate it to you.
Nice.
Get a cushion or a blanket, something. Make it yours.
Love it.
And just make it Jeff's spot. This is Jeff's chair. Sort of like Sheldon's couch.
I'm just thinking the same thing. This is my spot.
This is Sheldon's spot. I cannot tell you if everything, if it hits the fan, if everything's falling, the kids are screaming, your husband's being difficult, work is terrible, just go sit there.
Yeah.
Just sit there. Make yourself a cup of tea and sit there. No phone, no nothing. Count to 10. Just sit there.
Yeah. I love it. That's beautiful. And I've kind of done that. We can talk more about this after we get done, but I have actually done that and I love it. And it is so true.
It is.
It's true. It's true. Everybody, I promise. It's awesome. Oh man. Yeah. Thank you for that practicality, and thank you for your story, and thank you for everything that you're doing. I'm so glad we got to do this. Thank you so much for being here and for just everything you're doing. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. This is
absolutely fun. Absolutely, man. This is so cool. All right. Here goes the QR code's going away. All right. There you go. All right, everybody. Man, I learn something new every time. And I can't wait to talk to Hana after the show and explore a little bit more. So, all right, everybody. Seriously, I hope you scan that QR code because she's awesome. So, all right. Now, here's the thing. We're on those social media platforms, right? Facebook, YouTube, E360. Like, subscribe, share, all the things. If this is your new favorite episode, share it out. It might be somebody else's too. They just don't know it yet. Join us for our next episode, which might be your new favorite, which is going to be on Friday, July 11th. So join us then. And until then, have an amazing day, and we'll see you next time.